Hello. Alright, let's get started back up again. And this time we are already on the final installment. It's all been a pretty nice journey so far. I've thoroughly enjoyed sharing them with people so far. But everything has to finish up eventually, and we've got new horizons ahead of us once we're finished here. So hello. Let's get going. Hello. So this time, instead of getting a slow text crawl catching us up, we get right into action with some characters we've never met before. Not to say we aren't going to help them, of course. So, this time we've got EX skills as ever. There are 4 for the Saber, and there are 4 for the Buster, but we can only have 1 active, and the EX skills are the main way that you utilize elements in this game. Rather than, say, equipping a different element chip, instead you use these different skills to do damage with that element. We've also got a new weapon, the Zero Knuckle. I'm not going to be using it much, other than like stages where you need it, but the main idea behind it is you defeat enemies with it, and then you have their weapon for a certain amount of uses. The other thing is we still have the body part chips. We're taking quick charge. Let's be real, I'm gonna want the trap resistance body armor. The leg parts are what I'm going to be probably changing the most, but generally speaking, fast movement is plenty. Alright, so let's get going then. the main use of the Zero Knuckle for me is it allows you to hard disable a bunch of enemies with a quick hit. Whoop. That would have been a death. Yeah, Lamport is also kind of a jerk. You're going to see a lot of those throughout the game. They are mostly just speed bumps. Make you slow down and handle them before you can go. You could just rip their shield off with the knuckle, which is a fast way to get them out of your way, but... Oops. Hello. How are you doing? I see. It's a pretty quick first stage, but as it should be. Well, hopefully I can give you some good company until you're ready to go to sleep. So basically, because of the events of the previous game, Vile becoming leader of Neo Arcadia, he's now basically taking complete totalitarian control and just removing, quote unquote, as they say, anyone who opposes him. And also because we are responsible for him coming to power, because we destroyed the one that was ruler before. Regardless of the fact that X was going to end up, Copy X was going to end up being destroyed regardless, we are still held responsible in the public eye for Vile coming to power. So even though we're both against him, they are also not happy with us. Understandable to an extent, given all of the deliberate misinformation that led to the current state of things. So the way that you make the body part chips over here is you have to collect drops from enemies. Then you can combine them in different ways to create new powers. See, if I wasn't using death resistance, what would I like? For the moment, I guess I'll go with this one. Just longer in invulnerability. This place has one of the most iconic tracks of the series in it. Once we get started. So unlike before, you actually have a lot more reason to actively utilize the EX skills, because it allows you to make use of all of the elements all at once. Which before you would have to go into the menu and change a chip every time, and it was mostly just a benefit to changing your charge attacks property. Not too tough of a fight. So here's all the bosses, all at once. And we get this dingus. So, Area Zero being the first emergence of natural life since Mega Man X5 100 years ago. And Vile immediately sets out to destroy it because he doesn't have a stranglehold over it, and if people leave Neo Arcadia to go live in this newfound nature, then that would weaken his hold over humanity, so can't be having that. So, in this game, rather than having a bunch of cyber elves to collect, we just have one that can use various powers of all sorts. Also, we can ask people all around well, we're not at the base in this game. We're on a caravan, so there's only a handful of people on hand to ask, but before we actually get it, we have to name it. And to name it, we have to ask around and see if anybody has one that we like. Progress. It's interesting and indicative of its nature as a less destructive form of self-destructive cyber elf, but And then there's variable, which was the first thing she came across. Okay, we got Charit. I personally like that one, but it's worth asking around before making a decision on it. Nouvelle stands for new, which is also fairly apt for what it is and represents. Recruit, I'm not sure about that one. So, what name of the list we've been given do people think sounds interesting? I personally tend to go with, yeah, I tend to prefer Charit just because, I don't know, I guess because it's Seal's choice, but I don't want to just stick to a single one or anything. Variables, actually, honestly, for how it actually functions, variable is a pretty apt name. Sure, we'll go with that one. Now we can go actually pick it up and learn about it. Sure. So we don't have to worry about actually raising it or increasing the max level, because we start with the highest max level, and I already bought all of the upgrade levels, so nothing to worry about there. But let's see, for animal stuff we have move speed, wall sliding, 3 different types of shot, pit saving, and double defense. Hacker stuff, we have faster buster fire rate, rising attack and saber combo, damage for all types, press down for the final attack for extra stuff, more drops, double strength drops, and if you input special button commands, you can use charge attacks instantly, or EX skills, but the nurse ones are a little less interesting, but this one will cause health drops to just spawn sometimes. And we have health, 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 health and drops, health, and double max. So I like to just leave animal at 1 for the move speed. And the rest I'm usually a little less sure about. The extra 1 damage to everything is nice, and the rest can just go to however much more here. That's probably an alright loadout. So it might keep going up over 8, even though, like, normally what happens is it starts at max level 1, and then it goes up by 1 each time you fight one of the 8 main bosses. But I'm actually not sure if it just stays at 8 the whole way through, or if on a second loop it grows to 16. I guess we'll find out. That means I don't have a use for the move speed leg parts anymore, but that's what we have double jump out for. So the settlement here is of people that escaped from Neo Arcadia because they, like, Vile has only become increasingly totalitarian after the events of 3. And with the emergence of Area Zero, these people have decided to try to come out here and settle and start a new life. I mean, honestly, I can't blame them too much in that they don't trust us, because, where was I just going with my train of thought? I mean, we are the reason why Vile came to power, because we are the ones that got rid of Copy X again. Granted, Copy X was going to end up dead anyway because Vile trapped him, but that doesn't mean that they know that we're not culpable for it because it was going to happen anyway or anything like that. I'm gonna refresh my save before starting anything. Yeah, that's a fair point. They all have their own merits in different ways, either for being a good match for how the elf functions, or what its role is, or stuff like that. So, for the first time, we can actually go to all 8 areas in any order we want. And there is one major aspect to how it goes. So they all have different weather. Some of them have the glowy border and some don't. And what that means is you can also change the weather to one that's more suitable or less suitable to a certain stage. And the non-lit version is easier, but if you want to get the EX skill from a boss, you have to take the harder one. But I don't actually need to worry about that, because I already have them all, so I'm just going to do the easy versions and say to heck with it. Honestly, I think I'm just going to stick with the death resistance. So down here is inaccessible in the hard version of the stage, because it's just filled in with snow. So you grab the card key from this thing. That's its entire purpose, is just to be the one that holds the hard card key. I'm just taking all of the damage today. So those things come out faster the more of those you have destroyed. So I took a little bit of care to make sure I left 2 up until the end. So yeah, V-Fire is going to be an essential enemy for the entire game because, honestly, burning is the name of the main objective, so... There's the key card. There's normally an important... I think one of the sub-tanks is in here, but I already had it, so... Another neat thing you can do in here involves grabbing one of these lights and using it in a couple screens. So in here there are these ghost-like cyber elves and also these collapsed Reploid bodies. They will possess them and they'll just become zombies. You know, you can't destroy the spirits asterisk. However, with the flashlight, you can get them to go away from you, and then if you get them to go into these light pillars, which are only there if you're in the sunny version of the stage, then they'll disperse in the light. Supreme Edge Boy. So the other thing is, if you use the easy version of the stages, you're docked 10 potential points. But I don't pretend to care about the points, honestly. Yeah, I don't think the max level is going to continue to raise, but we'll see. And this is a fine stage also. I'm not sure exactly how you mean with the priority system, though. Like, I'm pretty sure I know, but I just... what you're referring to, I'm not sure I've heard referred to in that way. Oh, yeah. The way iframes work is some things give short iframes and others give long iframes. There's a lot of stuff you can do to basically extend a combo, given you have enough of an opening. And it works in different ways. The most predominant thing I've ever noticed is that you can do the first two hits of a combo and then cancel into something else and generally get better effect out of it. The Zero Knuckle gets a lot of work here, so you can just rip these out instantly. As with other stuff, it takes quite a lot of hitting to knock these out. Hello. Okay. You can break through this, but only when it's in weakened version. It just gives you a life, though. There's another one later. I forget if that's something more interesting. I have anti-spike, so we're set here. I'm just going to take my time descending, because I don't want to risk it at all. Ah, there's a part over there. So, Ceratanium is the quote-unquote rare part, in that there is one dependable location of it in every stage, but you have to know where it is, basically. There's also one stage where you can get it, like, within the first 5 seconds of the stage. Do something else. Okay, fine. She didn't do barely anything. I've always wondered about the voice lines in this game, because they use quite a lot of them compared to other games. There's only one boss where I have a decent understanding of the words he says, but not all of them, and not enough to actually know what they mean, but... like, not enough that I could even really tell them to you, but... So, this guy's. Yeah, they still have, like, their taunts at the start of the fight and stuff. And lines for their attacks and everything. So, this place is a giant mobile particle beam, and we're just gonna rush into the barrel. Yeah, this is probably one of the highest energy songs in the whole series. Heck. So those wyverns are going to be a recurring enemy, mini-boss in various stages. It's not instant death, but it just hurts a whole lot. Enemies are not so lucky. Heck. Wait. Yeah, I was worried that was going to rise while the thing was firing, so I wanted to try to get away. Heck. Oh yeah, I could have just double jumped. Silly me. Well, we're past that anyway. jerk. It's like, yeah, you're on this timed incline, but I'm just gonna be standing right here, ready to put a fire where you're trying to stand. Here we go. Yeah, I just don't really try to, because there's a lot going on as it is. Yeah, I enjoy this one for the most part, but the main reason I don't is because in between all of his interesting attacks, he's just sitting there and invulnerable most of the time. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna block that, can't hit me now, block that. I don't think that kind of, like, part of a boss is a fun part of a boss. Are you ready to halt the sun? So this is a somewhat annoying area, but interesting enough. So whenever we're out in the sun, that gauge starts rising. If it hits 100%, you take a bunch of damage. That's it. There's not a whole lot to it, but... there are a bunch of these doors you can go in. You don't have to, but you can destroy these, and then the heat is less intense, and it rises slower, and if you're in the weak version of the stage and destroy all of them, it's just off. How do you feel about marbles? Fortunately, you can do a pretty dependable, like, mental counter for when they're going to open up and just dispose of them that way, but... Oh, this crap. So I don't want to destroy the last of these. Because if you do destroy the last of them, it starts turning into a constant firing mode where it slowly rotates around. And it's a lot harder to avoid damage than just leaving one up. I'm actually at a pretty significant risk of dying here, so I might as well empty out one of these. I think there's only one more generator, but this is one I always pass by for some reason. I don't remember. It's either up here or... no, this is the boss. So I passed the last one. That's alright. Heck. Yeah, generally speaking, I think this game of the 4 has my favorite bosses just to fight. Though not many of them have my favorite designs and like concepts behind the fight, but it executes them the best, I would say. Alright, so we've got 4 down, which means it's time for intermission. I can't believe they started correcting it and saying transfer me. They should have kept saying trans me. So this stage has an interesting aspect in that it is the only stage that has... there's a given enemy that you can only find in this stage. I'll put it that way. Also interesting is the fact that you can never come back here. So if you don't get enough parts from it, you're out of luck. And you can't get anything made from it. Oops. I didn't want to destroy that. And it's those hammer enemies. You say that now. Yeah, just a little bit, but I already have everything done, but basically, obviously you've noticed enemies drop parts sometimes, and you can combine different sets of them to create the body chips that give you your different power-ups. The main problem with this is they never actually tell you what the combinations are, except for a few random, like, not very many of them. I should have refreshed my water. Stay hydrated. Yeah, I just look them up too, because there's basically no reason to sit there and experiment with parts, especially when missing a combination means you need to go kill more of that enemy. And now we get one of the coolest fights with Chungus. I like his pre-fight voice line, because it's just so... He just throws it all out there so fast, I'm not even sure it's actual words. But... Heck. So with that laser, the main way you're supposed to dodge it is you're basically supposed to memorize when exactly, like after how much delay he fires, and dash at that time to get under it, but boy is that not easy. You could also just get over him, but... Whatever, get out of here, nerd. Given I just tanked a lot at the end of that fight, that was a much better score than I was expecting, but whatever. Yeah, a lot of the problem is this is the game where you have the least access to defense and extra health, especially at the point you normally fight him in a first playthrough. Like, I had the advantage of sub-tanks and, like, double health. So now Nej is kidnapped and we need to get her back. But because of the rest of the Chungus settlement doesn't care for us at all, they're all just throwing her under the bus. Welcome to Settlement, part of Area Zero, which also happens to be ground zero of when the space station crashed in X5. And the reason why life is coming back here is because there was a still half-functional environmental thing that's been just kind of doing its thing and slowly growing stuff out. Now it's actually becoming self-sustaining. Alright, let's customary save, and then we'll head right back out. We'll go to the prison where Nej is being held. And they're already backpedaling on their nonsense because they realize just how non-helpful their initial reaction was. So if you know where you're looking, this is actually a really good stage for filling up sub-tanks, but it's also not super worth it, so you can never return to this part of this stage anyway, only the second half. Dash under that. It's a really not hard boss, but I still enjoy it on a level, because it rewards you thinking about jump up, dash under, stay still, go left or right kind of stuff. It's the main problem is it's extremely telegraphed, and that's what makes it easy once you know what the attacks are. Neige is the real hero of the series. She is, at the very least, the main representative of humans still wanting to survive. And then suddenly, something happens that makes it so we can't just leave. Conveniently after she's gone, just like in 3, when Seal escaped after the missile disarm. thought. You can disable those with ice. Fortunately, no boss. Well, no second boss, I suppose. Okay, now we can do the second half of the stages. This is also the first one where you have a significant level of control over what your state is when you go to the intermission, because there are 8 stages you can go to all of, but you only get 4 before the intermissions, and that means you can get access to any 4 EX skills. So this is an interesting, like, semi-two-parter. And that the first time you come here, you first have this segment where you have to find your way to the base, then you have the actual base itself. And the way down is a high water pressure maze, basically. Fortunately, there's nothing particularly important to miss or lose in this section, except parts from these enemies can only otherwise be obtained much later on in the final stages. Whatever. That's the only one you can reasonably hit with its weakness, because of the way the EX skills actually function. So I just kind of go ham on it. So that enemy I just fought before, that was sending out the ads, is one of the ones you're going to end up farming the most if you're trying to get all parts, because it spawns 3 different types of ads, and you need, I want to say, at least 3 of each type, and way more than 3 of the parts from the thing itself. So yeah, he is the last disciple of Phantom, basically. Which is a pretty interesting character trait, I would say. Godspeed, Edgeman. So, unfortunately, I'm running out of stages that I just really don't enjoy. In fact, I would say that that is true of all of the rest of them. Kind of a double-edged sword to giving you open choice for the entire set is... I'm always going to pick the ones I like more sooner. So this stage is the only one that's a lot harder in its harder state, because the main difference is there's a whole lot of like actual clouds on a layer of the foreground, and it's usually transparent, but there are certain parts, actually the worst parts of the stage, where they're completely solid, and it's actually really hard to keep an eye on what's actually going on during those parts. I don't remember if the windy sections are still windy sections, though. So when they start swooping like that, you have to do more damage than a charge attack to get them to stop advancing, but every time you hit them, they slow down. And if you don't, they grab you. Granted, the rods always did the same thing. Like, you're basically obligated to use these in circumstances where the stage demands it, or where it would help you get to something neat. But for one reason or another, it's either too handy to actually justify getting rid of, or bad and you feel bad for having to use it. Which is definitely my experience with the chain rod from 2. That one just does not work when you need it to do what it does. It's fine for like pulling blocks outside of like gaps and stuff, but for crossing gaps and swinging, it's absolutely abysmal. Anyway, I'm going to be just 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Recoil Rod is at least useful as a weapon, and its uses in the field are not poorly coded. Like, you can just use it and it's fine. Pegasolta Eclair is such a name, though. Whoops, I forgot. You're supposed to be down low for that attack. So it's like, not only do you have to be on the lower platform, you also have to dash once it starts getting low, or it'll hit you in the head. It's interesting because once he starts getting low on health, he can also do that same setup into a different attack, where you want to be on one of the sides and jump up over him, because he does a slow-moving dash across that tries to predict your movements in a way that you have to either jump up early to bait him up high, or stay down low so he comes straight across and then jump over. Alright, Magnet Zone. I don't dislike this stage. I just feel like all of the obstacles in it are a bit too dense to actually be able to enjoy the gimmick going on. But it seems like that entire gimmick is going to be inactive in the weakened version of the stage, which I won't complain about. I still mourn the loss of Shield Boomerang. I don't use it much anymore, but it was always my favorite weapon growing up. Alright, so the blue ones we repel because we're blue. The pink ones are going to come at us, though. We'll switch to pink, and then we can jump high in the pink zones, but we'll get over to the blue when our jump is hindered. There's a lot of routing to this stage if you're trying to do it well, because you want to be matching at the right times and not matching at the right times to be able to get around easily and not be at risk of things coming in at you. But I don't remember any of that, so I'm just going. I remember, like, once I note, oh, I shouldn't have changed here because now I'm not able to do these jumps well. But... alright, this mini-boss. Yeah, the thing with the frog part is the only area you can find it outside of the end game, it only spawns immediately over pits, so like you can't even easily farm it. health down here? No. Also, farming for parts from that enemy is a bit of a chore. Because whenever they drop something, it just falls all the way down. See if I can get a health drop real quick. Ah, don't worry about it. So this boss, how easily you can just go in and fight it depends drastically on which attacks he chooses. If he doesn't choose helpful attacks, you just have to do a lot of dodging, but if he does the right thing, you get a lot of openings instead. I would say this boss is pretty polarizing. This is the attack you want to see. Oh, then there's this attack, which is just nonsense. I actually got pretty good at avoiding the split-up attack, but when he did it there, I just completely blanked on all of my memory of what to do, so I just got hit constantly. Then there's the Living City, the worst stage in the game. Well, no, that's not true. It's the worst of these 8 stages in the game, but it's not the worst stage in the game. So basically you just dodge under the legs at the right time, then you jump over the shoulders when they come down, and you get like 2 or 3 good opportunities to get attacks in if you know where to be, when to be there. The important part is when you go in for the last attack, you have to get in really early and get out really fast, because he's about to have his torso fall down on you. It's right up there with Cubit Foxtar and her attack where she splits into 5 flames around the room that just zip around randomly. Whoops. I'm not sure what I was going for there, but I missed it anyway. Yeah. I don't think there's any, like, specific attack in and of itself that is at all random. But the AI is always very unweighted in how and when it chooses attacks. Oh, also, this part, it sucks! Don't... I know your trick. Okay, this part is at least interesting. It's kind of a ham-fisted, forced use of the Zero Knuckle, but it's fine. Is there anything to the other side? No. I always like that part because the tower sinking doesn't, like, destroy it or anything. It just lets you access further down. But it's also kind of a... How does this work in normal everyday function sense? Oh, by the way, more cubes. This is the worst of them, too. Not bad if you find the right spot to go and have double jump, but going normally, it's a pain. Like, figuring that out blind, rather. And that's that stage done with, I guess. If I was smart, I would be switching out to a different body chip when I get to bosses, but I haven't been thinking about it. I'll go with longer iframes. I'm a weenie. I never really got a chance to work with it. Does it, like, freeze them in the you can stand on them sense, or...? Okay, so that's the 8 stages down. Now we have the final approach, which I think is 3 stages? Alright, so back at base, they're detecting something coming from space, which, as we all know, is where Vile comes from. So, of course, if Vile had a weapon, it would be in space. Now, of course, Vile chimes in right after. So he has a giant space cannon, and that's what we're going after now. However, Kraft has finally come to his senses. However, as is the norm with people not us getting control of things, he kind of doesn't really take it in the right direction. It's like, yeah, what if we just destroy all of Neo Arcadia just to make sure Vile gets stopped? It's like, no. And of course, we start a mass evacuation as soon as we hear that, because who wouldn't? Alright, have a nice evening. Wait, no, it's 4 stages for the end. And this is one of the best songs in the series. Probably top 2 or top 3 or top 1 for this game in particular. I always forget, when you see those missile dudes, you're supposed to dash to get under the missile before it splits open. You're definitely not supposed to just tank the shot, either. Alright. Let's try to find a safe way down. Never mind. So we're going to start devolving into spike hell the further we get through this. Speaking of... Thank you. Cut that out. The problem with dashing under the laser is, or the missile, it's pretty immediate when you have, like, between seeing it and your window to avoid. Heck. That was on me. I was expecting it to be sooner on its route and just kind of hoping. Yeah, this is the worst stage in the game. I forgot I don't have spike protection on. Not that I wanted to do that in the first place, but... So the one thing I will always say, the more a stage has to rely on spikes and pits to generate its challenge, the worse designed it is. It's as simple as that. Heck. Tried to get under the platform, but I overed it instead. I'm just gonna farm my health up, because this stage was already a huge... oof. A very big oof. Most of the reason why I say this is just because the intersection between me and people that enjoy instant death maze challenges is 0. So this philosophy is mostly appealing to my enjoyment more than like an empirical sense of right and wrong design, but... And we did not get there in time. E-Laser has already fired. Nice. I had a brief okay. Yeah, I actually like that attack because honestly, I don't have too hard of a time avoiding it either. But yeah, this is what happens when you die a whole lot and you take forever and you take tons of damage and you... everything. But yeah, that was Kraft's whole thing. He, once he realized that he couldn't... Like, he started trusting Vile because he was the only person that was keeping any sense of order and keeping people alive, even if it was for, like, the worst possible means and reasons. So then, once his trust in Vile was disproven, he basically decided he couldn't trust anyone, and the only thing he could do was find a way to stop Vile, and the rest of it doesn't really matter as long as Vile is stopped. But fortunately, we already had an evacuation order going on, so we've at least gotten a lot of people out before before it got zapped. But he definitely blasted the heck out of exactly where Vile was. If you think that it worked, you haven't been paying attention. Uh-oh, the beam's firing again. But didn't we stop craft? So now they're just going to crash the entire cannon straight into Area 0. Because that will certainly work. You could have just stayed up there and kept firing, but I guess this is also a valid way to destroy the stuff. So we're going to be going into the wreckage of Neo Arcadia to use their means of teleporting troops to hopefully be able to get us to Ragnarok. So this stage is 4 different paths that are just, I guess you could say, bite-sized obstacle courses. But they're also mostly just enemy hallways and not actually obstacle courses. Not that there's nothing but enemies, but, you know. The stage is at least far more enjoyable than the last one was. In this one, we just kind of have to wait for these things. Yeah, auto charge is easily and by far the best thing in 0-3. But not being able to also have quick charge, I just kind of end up choosing quick charge instead. Because one is ultimately a convenience, and the other is a direct combat advantage. Also, with this game in particular, having auto charge on Zero Knuckle kind of gets in the way of doing like field-related stuff with it. Not heavily or anything, but okay, good. Except for this jerk in particular, right here. Who is a huge pain to navigate. Hello? Oh, and still a jerk on the return trip. Yeah, this boss is really neat.
Eliminating program started.
No. I've never seen it do that before, because I always wound up killing it from higher than the threshold that it starts doing that. So that was on me. So the next level is a neat idea, and it's not too bad of a stage, but it's okay. I'll leave it at okay. So we're basically going directly over the wire in, like, pseudo cyberspace. Yeah, they do a lot to explain away we're having a cyber mission. Yeah, I've seen like 100-point passes and stuff, and those are always finding the best spot in the stage to farm kills and stuff, but it's not usually required if you're just killing on your way through. Except this place. This place just doesn't have enough to fulfill its own requirement. Whoop! I hopped down, but wasn't in time. It's like one of those things where you know it's happening, but before you like snap to attention and do the thing, it's too late. Of course, that's the only way the spikes there can kill you when you have this on. It's because it technically counts as a crush, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's not a solid platform. It's like, why are they even spikes? I guess so you can't jump into them. Oh, and this part's annoying because if you fall out of step with where you need to be when you need to be there, you are so out of a rhythm that you just take lots of hits. I was trying to see how farmable this little stretch would be, but it's annoying, so no. I like this boss because of the way it sounds, but I don't like it because of the way you have to fight it. You ever try to do like a fancy maneuver, but you miss one key input of it, and then the whole thing just looks sloppy and amateurish instead? Whoa! Most notably, I was having some issues doing the jump down through platform part of jumping down through the platform. I wish I would stop grabbing that platform, because I just want to jump up. What? Toe? Whatever. They keep ruining my double jump by making me grab that thing, even though I don't want to grab it. Except for the end, that's how that's supposed to feel. Of course, because it gets faster as it gets lower health. It gets a lot harder to actually land the hits each cycle. Perfect is the last word I would use to describe any of that. But I'll take your word for it. Alright, so... no mincing words, I need to find a place to fill a sub-tank and a place to farm some lives. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to them, because I don't really remember any. So I am not even remotely confident in my ability to do the entire boss rush and final boss with, one life to spare. Just trying to think. I'm pretty sure there's one in here, but I don't know if it's, I'm pretty sure there's at least one in here, but I just don't remember if it's decently accessible or not. Oh, you're right. I know the particle cannon has at least one somewhere. In the actual barrel part. Question is that before or after the mini-boss? So if it's after the mini-boss, it's probably not worth it. I don't like the look of this. Okay, we're good. Well, that's the sub-tank, but I most definitively need some lives. Well, that counts as one. I guess I can do that. It's not great, but... well, I'll try the particle beam one, see if that's at a good spot. Because honestly, of the entire series, this is the hardest one to beat if you're using power-ups. Because you inherently have access to a fair bit less in this game. Like, you basically will never have sorry, I'm focusing. Oh, come on. Because the main crutches you have access to are the double health and increased armor, but you basically can never access both of those if you're doing this without just going over on your elf's max level. Oh. Yeah, the extra life is until all the way back here, which is probably 80% of the stage. So, well, the Underground Forest one is, at least I know I can get to it quickly enough, so I'll just do that a couple more times and call it ready. Okay, last one, then we'll head out. Because it's like, the bosses in this game are the least cheesable in the series. You have the least access to health and defense of the series, and so on. Alright. That's alright. I appreciate the help anyway. But now we are ready to head in. We need to disable the core without destroying Ragnarok. Or rather, disable the core without destroying it, because if we destroy it, the thing will break up in atmosphere and rain down heck anyway. So basically, we can't stop it from landing, we can't stop a lot of this stuff. The main thing we're trying to do is stop whatever's controlling it and hopefully come up with a landing course that's not too catastrophic. If I remember right, there's one part where those enemies that open up and start spinning and spitting fire, there's one exact point where they rise up will just crush you. So you just have to make sure you're not under it, or on top of it when it goes up. I might be misremembering though. So we get all of the refights right in a row. There's no 4, then break, then 4. This is one of the bosses I'm most likely to die on, because these are all going to be their empowered forms, not the ones I did in the weak versions of the stages. And the thing here is, there's going to be wind blowing to the left or right. And I can easily have a well-plotted attack just yeet right into the pit instead. Heck. Would you take some hits, jerk? Heck. Oh, I'm absolutely going to switch to the Buster, at least for the final boss. Nope, nope, nope. No. No. Yeah, I don't have any use for the knuckle anymore, so I might as well have it on hand. Crap. I forgot how fast the meter fills up normally. Whoop. A little more oops there than I was ready for. Whoops. Also, whoops. Now let's see. I mean, I guess at this point, I don't technically have a reason not to go all out on these and say to heck with the total. But this is generally better than other stuff, just because damage. Yeah, to heck with it.
ちつこいわよ。
Right. The one boss I actually want to have the knuckle for. Just rip it right out of the ground. Alright, halfway. It's like when he does that move where he just kind of walks forward, I don't know what you're supposed to do, because he's just gonna block as soon as you try anything, but if you don't try anything, he's just gonna walk slowly toward you and waste a whole bunch of time. And he just goes straight into this again. Which, a lot of the reason why I don't bother trying to attack during it is it's a lot harder for me to stay in step with the cycle of going around, because I keep thinking about too much instead of just the positioning of getting around. But Okay, so I should be able to fill that tank up. No problem. I forgot to get back out and does the thing. Get cleaved in half by the foot. At least not all of them. Like, not all of the bosses that are underwater are ice, and not all of the ice bosses are underwater. Because 3 has an underwater electric boss, and also has a not underwater ice boss. Yep, heck. You better refund that. I hate these arc cannons. They are the most frustrating enemy in the entire series. There are a lot of frustrating enemies, and I say that with no hesitation. All right, so we are here. It's file time. While the first form is perfectly okay, the second form is probably the worst boss in the entire series. Just in terms of... I could go on a long time, but... this dude rivals Gate, okay? So he's like at least 90% Reploid, but he at least has enough face and I'm assuming brain of human that he can assert that killing him will assuredly make you a maverick. Okay, maybe not his brain. So, time to just attach the Ragnarok core to myself. Okay, please do the rock attack. I like the rock attack. Or do this. Sure. I'm pretty sure you can knuckle those, especially once they're lit up and have a good attack, but I don't think about it. Funny you should say mostly invincible boss, because you have yet to see that in this game. It gets so much worse. The final boss of this game, for as amazing and completely awesome as a set piece as it is the worst design I have experienced in a long time. And it's all for one little part of it. It would all be perfectly fine if not for one little aspect. And you'll see exactly what that aspect is. Nope, not the horn. But what about you, she says. So that's why this boss totally sucks. It has a time limit. Why? So here's the strategy I came up with to counteract the fact that there's a horrible time limit. After we go through the first form again.
すがだな、英雄。死ねん。この程度では死ねんのだ。どうだこの痛みは。貴様にわかるか。終わらぬ悪夢だ。おだがし逃げろ逃げろ。気をつけろ。気をつけろ。なめるな。気をつけろ。気をつけろ。遊んでやれ。逃げろ逃げろ。
So yeah, the explosion shot pierces through his stupid barrier just enough that you can do 2 points of damage per charge shot. And it is enough to guarantee you will always beat the time limit.
逃げろ逃げろ。危ないな。仲間だな。気をつけろ。おだがしなめるな。この
Get out of here.
人形の時に滅べ。滅んでしまえ。
It's like, that's such a cool fight concept. It's such a cool, like, most of the attacks are really neat in the way that they demand your attention and what you need to do about them. But the fact that there's a time limit means you have to be sloppy, you have to ignore the things that... You just have to take openings, or just sit there and plink the horn with the explosion shot to do 2 damage every second or so. And there's no, like, interesting... Like, all of the interest of the fight vanishes because all of the strategy melts away into rush damage. Because there's a time limit. Well, yeah, I mean, I got hit by the green thing on purpose because I didn't want to jump around for 10 seconds waiting for them to finish spawning and moving around. I wanted to just get it out of the way so I could go back to doing damage. You can, but it takes more than just 1 slash anyway. So it's a lot of work just to wait out an attack that you could instead just jump into and then break out of. Anyway. I don't want to just go on about it when we have climax stuff going on. So that's the end. X already used up the last of his energy in the last game, and now Zero's spent. The Guardians are gone. Neo Arcadia is gone. Vile Unless he could somehow survive all of that re-entry and stuff. Couldn't possibly have survived. Ragnarok didn't end up destroying everything because it all burned up in the atmosphere. And just shooting stars instead. And basically, all of classic Mega Man, all of X, all of the Zero series is all, at least in this continuity, all cleared up. Which means that the only way they could possibly go forward is by making something basically totally different, and that's basically what they did. With the ZX series, we move on into another big time leap into the future. Life has developed more. Humanity has recovered. Reploids are more... actually, I don't remember if, like, sentient Reploids are still even a thing in ZX. Or if it's just humans and, like, non-sentient robots. But no, there have to be, at least to an extent, Reploids. But... I guess I don't have a reason to not save it on this one. Not that I have a reason to either, but... But anyway, I'm not going to be going on into ZX. It's not that I don't like the game. I have a hugely hard time playing through it. New Game Plus or New Game or anything. So it's just not something I feel like I would enjoy doing on stream. But that being said, now what we do have coming up next is we have some East games to play. Anything that doesn't have bump combat that's currently available, which is 6 games. We'll be getting into that Tuesday. I'm looking forward to it. I know the first 2 games I'll be playing pretty well, but after that it's kind of a Wild West where I know the basic engine, but I also know they're going to be iterating on it and changing it, and also knowing that they can make some really mean bosses. They're fine in like once you know them, they're okay, but the main problem with the E series, bump or not bump, is in the scale of numbers. If you are not high enough a level, you will not beat the boss. If you are about the same level as the boss, you can beat the boss. And if you are a couple levels too high for the boss, you can't lose to the boss. So it's this really weird, like, thing where you just kind of have to be where they expect you to be, and it's never the level that you're going to get there naturally at. So there is a little bit of there is some grinding at basically every point, but a lot of it comes down to finding ways to get it over with quickly rather than just, sitting there dejectedly grinding because you're not strong enough. But we'll cross that when we come to it. I'm hoping that E6 is the worst of it in that respect, because I know how to smooth over all of the stat problem areas in that pretty easily. But anyway, that's it for me for tonight. Like I said, I'll be back on Tuesday. We'll hop into that, and hopefully it'll be fun. It's not going to be all action because the system demands it, but we'll do the most we can with it. But yeah, as always, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's always nice to have that company. I hope to see you again next time. Have a nice evening, and take care. And no, you're okay. I don't mind a conflict of opinions on design stuff or anything like that, because I know that the way I feel about a lot of things is not really the way a lot of people feel about those same things. And, no, it was nice to have you here. Anyway, take care. It's okay to have opinions, just don't have opinions as bad as mine are.